Imagine an ICU doctor, right? They're sprinting into a trauma room because a patient just flatlined.
Oh, high stakes, absolute panic.
Exactly. And the doctor desperately needs the patient's medical history to give them this highly specific life-saving drug.
Right.
So they go to pull up the digital chart, but there's a problem. The computer screen is locked behind an impenetrable, multi-factor privacy firewall.
Which is designed to protect patient data.
Yes, but the doctor doesn't have the required biometric clearance to bypass it, so the system is perfectly secure.
Wow.
It is completely legally compliant,
Mhm.
and a patient might die because of it.
Yeah, that scenario is, it's the exact nightmare keeping healthcare executives awake at night right now.
I can imagine.
We've spent decades building these digital fortresses,
Yeah.
Assuming that locking data down is the ultimate objective,
Right.
only to realize that those same walls can actually become lethal.
That intersection of digital security and physical safety is our focus today. Welcome to the deep dive.
Glad to be here to get into this.
Today we are exploring a highly influential article by Naavi, and it's titled Beyond the CIA Triad, the CDP Human Security Model.
It's a fantastic piece.
It really is. And our mission for this deep dive is to explore why our traditional understanding of cybersecurity is dangerously outdated, especially in high-stakes environments like healthcare.
Yeah, it's a massive problem.
We're looking at a radical new framework that is shifting the ultimate goal of security from protecting machines to protecting, well, human beings. Okay, let's unpack this.
Let's do it.
We all know the foundational benchmark of cybersecurity, right? The CIA triad.
Oh, yeah, confidentiality, integrity, and availability.
Exactly. I mean, every system on Earth has been built around this, keeping unauthorized people out, ensuring data isn't altered, and keeping the servers running.
Right, but what's fascinating here is how quickly that benchmark became inadequate.
Really? How so?
Well, the CIA triad operates on an implicit assumption, which is that data is inert.
Like it's just sitting there.
Yes, exactly. It's like a high-tech filing cabinet.
Yeah.
It assumes data is just sitting in a vault waiting to be read.
And as long as the vault is locked and the data is untampered with, it's fine.
Right, and the vault door only opens when an authorized user turns the key. Under that model, the system is deemed perfectly secure.
But the reality is that data isn't inert anymore. It doesn't just sit in a repository.
Not all.
It's active intelligence now. It triggers automated actions. It dictates access to physical spaces.
Man, in modern medicine, it literally determines immediate life or death treatment protocols.
Which means the traditional metrics of security fail to measure the actual risk.
Yes. Consider an automated AI diagnostic system, right?
Yeah.
Say it's analyzing patient scans.
Oh.
And let's say there's a subtle flaw in the algorithm. Maybe it was introduced by a corrupted training data set, and it begins generating false negatives for early-stage tumors.
Oh, wow. That's terrifying.
It is. But here's the kicker. Under the strict parameters of the CIA triad, a cybersecurity auditor would actually give that system a perfect score.
Wait, really? A perfect score?
Yeah, because confidentiality is maintained. No hackers breach the system.
Ah, I see.
Availability is perfect because the software is online 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
And integrity appears intact because the system is outputting the exact data it was programmed to compute.
So the machine is doing exactly what the code tells it to do, but it is simultaneously exposing a human being to severe physical harm.
Exactly. And the cybersecurity apparatus doesn't flag it because
Okay.
the threat didn't arrive via, a phishing email.
Right. It arrived via a systemic failure of the intelligence itself.
Yeah. The digital world has evolved to a point where a machine perfectly executing a flawed command is just as dangerous as a machine hijacked by a malicious actor.
So security has to evolve beyond just defending the perimeter of the information system?
It absolutely must. It has to expand into protecting the humans whose physical realities are governed by that system.
And this becomes starkly obvious when we look at the typical tech industry response to a major cyber incident.
Oh, the standard playbook.
Right. Let's say a massive retail corporation or a bank suffers a catastrophic ransomware attack. The playbook is super predictable.
They isolate the network.
Yep, isolate the network, spin up their offsite backup servers, issue a public apology, maybe offer customers a year of free credit monitoring.
And eventually, business returns to normal. The damage is largely reputational and financial.
Exactly. But a hospital does not have the luxury of that playbook.
No, not at all. The modern cyber threat landscape demonstrates that the ultimate impact of a healthcare breach is physiological.
Which is a huge distinction.
Huge. When a hospital's network is encrypted by ransomware, A traditional cybersecurity analyst categorizes it merely as an availability failure.
Because the files are locked, so authorized users can't access them.
Right. But labeling a hospital-wide blackout an availability failure completely ignores the cascading physical trauma happening on the ground.
I mean, we are talking about ambulances carrying critical trauma patients being diverted to facilities an hour away.
Or delicate surgeries being aborted mid-procedure because the robotic surgical tools just lost connection to their central server.
It's terrifying.
The defining characteristic of a healthcare breach is irreversible harm. Time is not a variable you can recover.
Right, like if an emergency department loses access to its network for even 4 hours.
A stroke patient might miss that highly specific pharmacological window where tissue-saving medication can actually be administered.
But wait, I have to challenge this a bit. Are modern hospitals really completely helpless against these downtimes?
What do you mean?
Well, cloud technology and failover systems are incredibly advanced now. A well-funded hospital system should be able to fail over to an uncorrupted mirror site within, like, minutes.
You would think so.
Right. Why wouldn't a rapid technical recovery mitigate that irreversible harm?
Because a rapid failover in a complex cyber attack is often a complete myth.
Really?
Yeah, when ransomware penetrates a network, it usually lingers for weeks. It silently infects the backups and the mirror sites before detonating.
Oh, so the backups are already compromised.
Exactly. If a hospital instantly flips the switch to a backup server, they frequently just activate a second copy of the ransomware payload.
Wow.
So the downtime isn't just about restoring a database. It requires entirely severing the hospital from the internet. They have to bring in forensic teams to manually scrub every single connected device.
Every device.
Every device.
Yeah.
From MRI machines to, digital thermometers before bringing them back online one by one.
That must take weeks.
It does. And you cannot place a stroke patient in suspended animation for weeks while IT clears a server.
That makes total sense.
Right.
The physical consequence is permanently locked in the moment the digital failure occurs.
Yes.
You cannot restore a lost life from an offsite backup.
No, you can't. And because the stakes are fundamentally physiological and the damage is irreversible, relying on a security model designed to protect filing cabinets is basically negligent at this point.
Which introduces the core of Naavi's proposal from the article, the CDP human triad.
Yes, the CDP triad.
This model radically reorganizes hospital leadership. Instead of a single IT department worrying about hackers, the CDP triad proposes 3 distinct, highly specialized executive roles.
They refer to them as human controllers.
Right. And each role holds a specific mandate, operates with a different definition of risk, and is guided by a singular question. Let's map it out. The C stands for the Chief Information Security Officer, the CISO.
Right. The CISO basically represents the legacy of the old system. Their mandate is to protect the information itself.
So they build the digital walls.
Exactly. They configure the firewalls, monitor network traffic for anomalies, run penetration tests, and manage the technical incident response.
Okay, so what is their guiding question?
It's entirely system-focused. They ask, how do we protect the information and the infrastructure from unauthorized access or destruction?
So they are the guardians of the network perimeter.
Yes.
But keeping the servers locked doesn't mean the hospital has the legal or ethical right to use the data residing on them. And that introduces a completely different layer of security. Privacy compliance. This is where the D enters the equation, the Data Protection Officer, or DPO.
Right. The DPO's mandate is to protect privacy. Their role is defined by strict regulatory frameworks.
Like the DPDPA.
Yes, in the context of the source material, this is heavily driven by frameworks like the Digital Personal Data Protection Act.
Let's look at the mechanics of what a DPO actually does day to day, because they aren't looking at code or configuring firewalls, right?
No, not at all. They are auditing consent algorithms. A DPO enforces data principal rights and strict purpose limitation.
Give me an example.
Okay, so if a patient provides their medical history specifically for cardiovascular treatment, the DPO ensures that data is not quietly aggregated and sold to a third-party pharmaceutical company developing, say, diabetes medication.
Got it. So it's about restricting usage.
Exactly. The DPO implements data minimization, ensuring the hospital only collects the absolute minimum amount of information required for a specific task.
And their guiding question.
Their question is, how do we protect the individual's legal choices and inherent privacy rights?
Okay, so we have the CISO protecting the servers and the DPO protecting the legal rights to the data. Here's where it gets really interesting.
It does.
Neither the CISO nor the DPO is formally evaluating the physical human body lying in the hospital bed.
Right.
A system can be perfectly secure from hackers and perfectly compliant with privacy laws while still delivering a fatal outcome to the patient.
Which is terrifying. And that gap necessitates the final revolutionary pillar of the triad, the P, which stands for the Patient Safety Officer, the PSO.
The PSO.
And their exclusive mandate is to protect the patient.
This role requires a massive paradigm shift, doesn't it?
Oh, entirely.
I mean, the PSO is not a cybersecurity engineer waiting for a malicious state actor to attack the grid.
Yeah.
The source makes it explicitly clear that the PSO cares about any way digital, operational, or mechanical event that compromises clinical safety, regardless of the origin.
Yeah, to really understand the PSO, we have to look at how they conduct a human impact assessment. Let's say a hospital decides to deploy a fleet of new wirelessly connected smart infusion pumps.
All right.
The CSO will test the pumps to ensure hackers cannot remotely access them. The DPO will evaluate the pumps to ensure the patient telemetry they transmit back to the manufacturer is fully anonymized.
So the CSO and the DPO sign off. The device is secure and private.
Right. But the PSO conducts a totally different evaluation.
What are they looking for?
They test the user interface of the pump. Like, what happens if a software update introduces a half-second latency into the pump's touchscreen?
Oh, wow.
Could that latency cause a hurried ICU nurse to double-tap a dosage button, accidentally delivering a lethal dose of medication?
That's such a subtle but critical detail.
Exactly. The PSO is evaluating the mechanical and psychological friction between the digital system and human operation. If that friction introduces a risk of physical harm, the PSO blocks the deployment.
So their guiding question cuts through all the tech jargon.
Yep. They ask, how do we protect the patient, irrespective of the cause of harm?
It could be a malicious hack, a clumsy software patch, a flawed AI algorithm, or a nurse tripping over a badly placed Ethernet cable.
Exactly. The PSO treats all of them as equivalent threats because the physiological outcome for the patient is identical.
But looking at this practically, implementing this triad seems like an organizational nightmare.
It's definitely complicated.
We are talking about adding 3 powerful C-suite executives, each with massive oversight authority, to a hospital hierarchy.
Right.
A massive research hospital might have the capital for that, but how does a rural 50-bed community clinic afford a CISO, a DPO, and a patient safety officer? Does this model completely collapse outside of metropolitan medical centers?
That's a valid concern, but the source recognizes that the CDP triad is a functional framework. It's not necessarily a rigid headcount requirement for every small clinic.
Okay, so how does it work for them?
In a rural facility, these mandates might be consolidated or maybe managed by an external healthcare collective. The point is not the specific title on the office door.
Then what is the point?
The point is that the distinct functional mandates of technical security, legal privacy, and clinical safety must be formally represented and measured in every single digital decision the hospital makes.
Which inevitably leads to brutal operational clashes.
Oh, absolutely.
If you establish these 3 distinct mandates, information, privacy, and patient safety, they're going to contradict each other in the real world. We discussed the scenario at the very beginning of this deep dive.
Right. The privacy controls directly preventing the life-saving care.
Exactly. That friction has to be the core vulnerability of the CDP model. A system perfectly compliant with the DPDPA will utilize aggressive data minimization and strict purpose limitation.
Yes, it will lock down patient records with heavy biometric authentication to prevent unauthorized viewing.
So the DPO is fulfilling their mandate perfectly.
They are.
But the moment an emergency hits and a covering physician needs to bypass those locks to view a medical history, the DPO's privacy architecture directly violates the PSO's safety mandate.
The privacy wall becomes a barrier to survival.
You cannot have the CISO, the DPO, and the PSO standing in a hospital corridor arguing over protocol while a patient is coding.
No, you definitely can't. There has to be an established hierarchy, an overriding set of rules of engagement.
So how do they resolve that?
Well, developing those rules of engagement is precisely what the industry is currently attempting to formalize.
Okay.
The source details the development of the GGPSI hospital framework.
And DGPSI stands for the Data Governance and Protection Standard of India.
Exactly. It's a comprehensive compliance framework. And this new hospital-specific extension is being designed specifically to create an organizational mechanism that integrates the CISO, DPO, and PSO without paralyzing the hospital.
Naavi uses a brilliant mechanical analogy to explain how this governance might ultimately function, drawing directly from military command structures.
Yes, I love this analogy.
Hmm.
A modern military operates with highly distinct branches, right? The Army, the Navy, the Air Force, and modern cyber command.
Right.
Each branch possesses a unique mandate, specialized training, and distinct operational goals. They're basically the equivalent of our CISO, DPO, and PSO.
But if an Air Force commander calls in a tactical strike on a target without coordinating with the Army commander who has troops moving into that exact sector, you get catastrophic fratricide.
Right. They need a mechanism for deconfliction.
So how does the military handle it?
To prevent silos and ensure unified action, military structures utilize the role of a Chief of Defense Staff, or CDS.
Okay.
The CDS holds joint command. They sit above the individual branch commanders, view the entire strategic battlefield, and have the ultimate authority to deconflict competing operational demands.
So the DGPSI hospital framework is grappling with how to build that joint command within a medical network.
Exactly.
Does the hospital need to invent a brand new overarching executive role, like a healthcare chief of defense staff, to referee the disputes between the CISO, DPO, and PSO?
Or, because human life is the absolute highest moral and legal priority, does the patient safety officer automatically assume the role of the CDS?
Wow. Giving the PSO veto power over the DPO and CISO fundamentally rewrites how hospitals purchase, deploy, and manage technology.
It really does. Because if privacy must always yield to clinical safety in an emergency, the software architecture itself must be built with emergency break glass protocol.
Break glass protocol.
Yeah, protocols that bypass DPDPA compliance to save a life, automatically logging the breach for later legal review rather than stopping the pair in the moment.
That makes a lot of sense. The final structure of that hierarchy really depends on the impending release of the complete DGPSI hospital framework.
It does.
But the sheer fact that regulatory bodies and security experts are debating the necessity of a clinical veto over digital privacy shows how dramatically the philosophy of technology has shifted.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the transition from the CIA triad to the CDP human triad forces a profound reckoning within the entire tech industry.
How so?
Well, for half a century, security professionals defined their success by the resilience of the machine. The server was the asset. The network was the territory to be defended.
The industry operated under the delusion that the digital realm and the physical realm were separated by a screen.
Exactly. And the CDP model shatters that delusion. It establishes that the ultimate purpose of security is not security itself.
Right?
The purpose of securing a database is to protect human autonomy. The purpose of enforcing privacy laws is to protect human dignity.
And the ultimate purpose of auditing an algorithm is to guarantee human safety.
Yes, the machine is merely the conduit. The human is the final endpoint.
Which means the definition of a cybersecurity failure is no longer a compromised password. It is a compromised patient.
Exactly.
And for you, listening to this, the implications stretch far beyond the walls of the hospital. You do not have to be a network engineer or a medical professional to be caught in the crosshairs of this shift.
No, definitely not. Every time you step into a modern medical facility or log into a digital health portal or even strap a biometric monitor to your wrist, your physiological safety is tethered to a network architecture.
You are relying on the assumption that the people managing those systems value your bodily integrity more than they value their system uptime.
Which is a huge leap of faith.
It is. We are rapidly approaching a reality where our physical existence is inextricably woven into our digital infrastructure. The CDP model is currently focused on healthcare because that is where the blood is literally on the line.
Right.
But if a patient safety officer is now required to oversee hospital networks because digital systems dictate physical outcomes, how long until this exact framework is legally mandated across every sector of our society?
It's only a matter of time.
Consider the trajectory of our daily lives. We're surrounding ourselves with autonomous, connected machinery. How long until regulators demand a dedicated safety officer to oversee the cybersecurity of our smart cars?
Which are essentially 2-ton computers hurtling down the highway at 70 miles an hour.
Exactly. Or what happens when a malicious update to a municipal power grid isn't just an availability failure, but a mass casualty event during a winter freeze?
That's a terrifying thought.
Or even inside your own smart home, where artificial intelligence controls the environmental systems and the physical locks on your front door. If the machines governing our world fail, the consequences are no longer confined to a screen.
No, they're not.
Where else in your life is a digital failure quietly waiting to become a physical threat? It is time to start demanding systems that protect the human, not just the hardware. Keep questioning the systems around you, and we'll see you on the next deep dive.